Around 10 years ago, in a space of 2 days, my mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer and her brother, my uncle, died from prostate cancer. Shortly after this, I realised for the first time that every one of my relatives had died of cancer, 100% of them. That led to me almost obsessively reading books on cancer and learning as much information as I could on the causes of the disease, as it would be just a matter of time until they diagnosed me with cancer, as it was clearly in our family. As I learnt more and more about the causes, I made suggestions to my mum on some of the knowledge I had discovered, especially around the food she was eating, and hoped she might take action on some of it. But as much as she loved me, she understandably only listened to what her doctors were telling her and went through the most aggressive form of chemotherapy. She lost her hair and had a never-ending sequence of infections, fatigue, sores and nausea. She became very weak physically and mentally and was like a different person, as she'd always been mentally strong. I can understand why she wouldn't listen to me, as I was her son, not a doctor, and had no qualifications in nutrition, health or medicine. But it was hard to watch her get weaker and weaker, and knowing she was being given absolutely no nutritional advice as part of her treatment, resulting in her continuing to eat the same type of foods that had caused the issues in the first place. The feeling of helplessness drove me on to read scores of books on cancer, nutrition, health and other related areas. One of the most difficult aspects of tackling cancer is the sheer amount of conflicting evidence as well as misinformation, and so it is very easy to be led along unhelpful paths, but believing you are on the right track. For me, that meant eliminating meat and dairy, trying ketogenic, pagan, raw food and many others. But the more I experimented and the more I read and then learnt how to understand research papers, the subject slowly became much clearer for me. And although I am still far from an expert, I have a much better understanding of whom to listen to, which advice to heed, and which to take with a pinch of salt. Additionally, over the last few years, I've studied nutrition, sleep, breathwork, neuroscience, and other health-related topics with reputable organisations. I now know that my lifestyle plays a much bigger role in the chances of me being diagnosed with cancer than my genes. I also realise that the nutrition that works for one person is unique to how their metabolism works and may not be at all helpful for me. Likewise, meat and dairy can be very harmful for some people and yet very helpful to others. As for the diet wars and the health claims of adopting veganism, keto, carnivore, pagan, high carb, low fat, high fat, low carb, etc., all of them can work for some people short term, but few of them prove effective over the long term. And it is far better to have a good balance of protein, carbs and fat while reducing intake of processed foods as much as possible. But that is only part of the puzzle. Even if you eat a diet that is perfectly tailored to your genetic and metabolic makeup, if you aren't getting good sleep and or cannot deal with the stress you encounter, it is unlikely you will be in good health. One of the most interesting discoveries I've made is that in each of the areas of health I've delved into, the people in that area are convinced that is the most important pillar of health. People in the nutrition world are convinced that nutrition is what everyone should focus most on. Many experts in the arena of exercise and fitness have a similar belief about regular exercise. Specialists in sleep will tell you sleep is the most important pillar of health. I've heard many practitioners of breathwork speak about how breathing practices are the most undervalued and yet most important part of health. And psychologists will convince you that the mindset you adopt is the key to whether you enjoy good health. My learning has been that there is not one silver bullet that will fix your health. Focusing on one of these areas and neglecting any of the other areas will cause poor health outcomes in the long term, All of them are vitally important to every human, but to different degrees. For one person, maybe the order of preference for those 5 areas would be sleep first, nutrition second, mindset third, movement fourth, and breath work fifth in order of importance and time spent focusing on. Yet another person may need to place a far higher focus on breath work because of their respiratory issues. And so the balance between those 5 areas is unique to every person, and there is no one size fits all. I have travelled a long way in the past decade and conducted countless experiments on myself in all of those areas. I've tried many nutrition styles, placed a far greater emphasis on sleep habits and wind down routines, dabbled with a few breathing practices which have resulted in me no longer requiring medication for the asthma and hay fever I've suffered with since childhood. I'm as fit as I was 25 years ago and able to out-sprint people half my age on the football pitch, which some of them find difficult to take when they find out I'll be celebrating my 60th birthday in a couple of years' time. I have no aches and pains and take no medication, and thanks to my regular meditation, breathwork practices and ongoing development of my character strengths and other mindset techniques, I have very little stress in my life. I now help people regularly to turn around their health, and it gives me a feeling of gratitude after the frustration I had in not being able to help my mum, especially when she eventually passed away from the cancer. But if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be helping so many people now. So my mum has given me the inspiration to do what I do.